Do you want to hear about homeschooling middle school? Then stay tuned, because that's what I'm talking about in this video. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is sports. And the reason why I'm starting with sports is because, as you can see, I am outside. And the reason why I'm outside is because I am at my daughter's volleyball practice. Yep, volleyball practice. She's getting to play volleyball because she's experiencing it with the local Christian school in our area. Thank God for that, because I have not been able to find volleyball anywhere. That's one thing I want to tell you about homeschooling middle school, is that your kids, if you have children like mine, they're going to want to play sports. So you're going to have to find a way to allow them to do so. I mean, you can do Parks and Rec, you can do your local Upwards organization, which is a Christian-based organization that's playing sports. But most of the time, in our area, we couldn't find volleyball, and my daughter really wanted to play. So I contacted the local Christian school, and thank God they were accepting people. So that, and part of homeschooling middle school means you're going to be sitting outside doing a whole lot of waiting or watching, them practice or driving them back and forth. But to me, it's worth it because she's getting the skill. So that's the first thing I want to tell you about. Sports become very important for your middle school age kids. They want to do something active. They don't want to be sitting in the house just because you do. They want to be active. So you will have to find ways for them to participate in organized sports. And my children want really challenging sports. They don't want something that's just they're just playing it just to be playing. No, they want competitive sports. That's the word I should use, competitive sports. So be ready for that. Now, the second thing I want to talk to you about are chores. And the reason why I'm talking about chores now is because a lot of the opportunities that my kids have to play sports is directly tied to how they handle their chores at home. That includes their daily chores and their chores for school. They must do it with glee. I mean, they don't have to be smiling like fools, but they must have a good attitude when I tell them to do their chores, and they must get them done on a regular basis. They cannot be sitting there playing around and acting like they don't want to do their sports, because I am not above telling them they cannot go. If my children give me grief when it's time to do their chores, then that day's practice for their sport out, and they know it. So I use that as leverage. It is imperative that you train your children to help you. Actually, you should start doing that when they're real little, but definitely in middle school. Your kids need to realize that you're not Superwoman or Superman, and you can't do everything by yourselves. And in order for you to show up for them and to get them to the places they need to go, then your home needs to run smoothly. And I have found over the years, raising 8 kids, that training them to help me to do chores, I mean everything, not just pick up behind themselves. I'm talking about the entire house, to help me keep the entire house in order. Then I feel comfortable enough and I'm secure as far as leaving a house and it's not all filthy, dirty, and everything is taken care of. I feel good doing that. But then again, I cannot do everything by myself. So it's important to train your children to help you starting at an early age. And middle school, they truly and honestly need to know how to do these things, because see, of course, after middle school, there's high school. And then after high school, there's college if they want to go, or their own place. And if you don't teach them how to do these things, they're going to be shortchanged in life. Believe me, I know. I have had, 5 children go off to college, and they have said this to me about some of their fellow students, fellow roommates. They just don't know how to do anything because they were never trained at home. So don't forget, train those kids to do their chores and to help you to run that house. Now, middle school age, let me tell you about technology. And when I say technology, I'm talking about iPads, iPhones, anything, and TV, and radios, and all sorts of things. Even what do you call those things? MP3 players. What I want to say about those things is you must be diligent when it comes to those things, because your children are getting to the age, or they're at the age where they're so curious. And number 2, they're very, very impressionable. And I'll tell you, if you don't pay attention to them, they can easily get swiped up and convinced to do things that they may not have otherwise done if they had not been on technology. But I have seen a lot of kids get turned out with crazy stuff because they were locked up, free to do whatever they want with their technology. My children, they don't need technology. We do not allow it. And what I mean by that, I mean we don't let them have TVs in their room. We watch television as a family. And secondly, they don't get iPhones until they're driving on their own and they have somewhere to go. There's no reason for them to have a phone, because right now I drive them everywhere they need to go. That's just point blank truth. And you definitely do not allow them to just watch TV and watch anything they want to do, because as you know, there's so much temptation out there. So middle school kids, you got to be very diligent and consistent and persistent about television, technology, and any source of iPhone, anything. That's the way I look at it. And what I mean when I say be careful about the technology, it's not I'm saying to keep your kids hidden from the world, because they're going to run into stuff in all the different groups that they participate with, and also in even church youth groups. But what I am saying is that you just have to monitor and just make sure that what they're doing, what they're introduced to, is kind of like buffered or interpreted through you, because as you know, if they're listening to their peers, they may get some wrong information. So be open-minded. Be open enough to talk about anything with your kids. In my house, we talk about everything. My kids, I have a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old who are left at home. But we talk about everything. And when I say everything, I am not kidding. I mean about sex, about homosexuality, about politics, because I want them to not think that these things are taboo, but to be informed and to realize that in this world, there's darkness and there's trouble and there's people who are out there to hurt you. And I don't bite my tongue when it comes to stuff like that. I tell them the truth, okay? So make sure your children are informed and not naive and easily, because that makes them vulnerable to the predators. The next thing I want to talk about is to tell you to be patient with yourself as a new homeschooler of a middle school. If you've been homeschooling for a while, but this is your first year doing middle school, or if you're just starting and you're starting with a middle schooler, be patient. The first thing you better learn is do not ever compare yourself with everyone else, because homeschooling is unique to your family. As homeschoolers, we sometimes use the same curriculum as other homeschooling families, but not the way you plan it, the way you do your homeschool. It's not going to be the same as everyone else. That's what I love about homeschool. I have learned to tailor my homeschool. Sorry about that. I have learned to tailor my homeschooling for my family, what fits us, for what we need to do in order that will benefit everyone in my household alone. I'm not concerned with everyone else's household. And so that's what I want to encourage you to make sure that you give yourself some grace and realize that it's going to take you some time to get your groove, but you will get your homeschooling groove on. So don't forget that, okay? Now, don't forget that I make these videos so that I can help the next homeschooler or beginner homeschooler to do a very good job when it comes to homeschooling. I want you to be successful. And so what I do is all to help you. So believe me, I will appreciate it, and it will help my channel if you will make sure that you share my videos, or you would say something. Give me a like or a comment leave a comment in the comments, because it helps the algorithm that YouTube will send me out to more people if they think that my videos are something that others appreciate. So help a sister out. Give me a like and a comment and share my videos. This is Adrienne Brown, and I am happy to help the new homeschooler. Happy homeschooling. Bye. I'm talking about curriculum. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the best possible curriculum to have is a complete workbook. And when I mean a workbook, I'm talking about a workbook that will last throughout the whole entire year. All of the sheets that a child would need would be inside that one particular workbook per subject, if necessary, because I've been doing this for about almost 28 years now. I'm on my second group of kids that I'm homeschooling. And in the beginning, I used to do worksheets to where I would take a worksheet and have to copy it for a second child. And, that was okay. It worked for a while. I thought it was cool. I thought it was easy, until I started having to buy ink for my printer, extra paper for my printer, and making sure I had toner for my printer, because if I were missing any of those things, then guess what? I had to take the worksheet and copy it by hand, and that becomes a nuisance after a while. So early on, after about 3 years of that, and that's when my kids were young. They were in elementary school. But once they started getting into middle school and high school, there's no way I was going to do that. They need their own book. So as a middle school I'm homeschooled. This is my eighth seventh grader this year. I'm on my eighth seventh grader. And over the years, I have found that them having their own book where they can just write in there and just every day I can put the date on there and tell them which pages that they need to complete. That has worked just fine for me, for our family. There have been some books, like a spelling book maybe, I may not allow them to write in that because I can pass that down to the next child. Spelling books are so small, especially the ones that I get from Rebecca. They might have 30 lists of spelling words that they have to learn throughout that year. So you can take a notebook and just have them write those words in the notebook, and then you can use that book again for your next seventh grader. So those little teeny books like that, that's fine. I don't have to copy them. I just let them write in a notebook instead. But that's why, like a history book, or I should say a math book and a language book, those books can be over 400 pages that will last throughout the year. So it is best that they have their own copy. And, if you've been around here for a while, you know that I use Abeka. Excuse me, I use Abeka. And so I just go ahead and buy the book, the student workbook for my children. And speaking of Abeka, if you're looking for, I'm not getting any type of sponsorships from any curriculum makers at all, but I will vouch for Abeka because Abeka is thorough. You know your child is going to get what they need for that year. You don't have to wonder. You don't sit around guessing if they're actually been exposed to what they need to be exposed to for that seventh grade year or that eighth grade year. You know that Abeka is an all encompassing curriculum. And your child will get a thorough education if you follow the teacher's curriculum, and they actually have a homeschooling curriculum. If you follow that, using the books and doing it the way they tell you to do it, they write it out for you step by step, even giving you suggested words and phrases to use when you're trying to teach a certain subject to your child. And I love it. Believe me, Abeka is the way to go. And if you're looking for more help on, with middle schoolers or high school, check out the videos down below or on my website, because I have made quite a few. Because like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm going to continue to create videos to help you get through your middle school and your high school days. As far as how often I school, when we school, and how long throughout the year, let me tell you, we have always been on a schedule that fits our family, and then we adjust it as needed. But for the core, I try to do homeschooling basically every day, at least 4 days a week. And then usually on Fridays, we use that day to do testing or go on field trips or just to do whatever I want to do. That's our prerogative. And I have found that being on that schedule has helped me to get through my work. And as far as my kids are concerned, I also have found that it is very important to keep them into whatever they learned that year all through the summer, so that when they come the next year, they won't forget. They'll still have it fresh in their minds, and they'll be ready for the next level. So this summer, I have my grandkids here, so I buy them books for the grade that they're going into, and every other day I have them do a workbook. When we're just sitting around and not doing anything, they actually crave something interesting to do. So that's what we do. I'll give them a work page. I'll give them my older kids. I'll make them do some sort of a math page that was left over from one of the extra pages from their math books. I'll make them do that. So that way I know that the concepts that they learned throughout that school year will stay fresh in their minds. So that is how we do middle school, high school, and elementary. And I'm specifically speaking about middle school to you on this video, but it works for all levels. You have to keep your kids occupied when it comes to when you're educating, because you don't want them to forget. So we will go at least 4 days a week, and we will use Fridays for testing, or we may use it to go on a field trip, or we may use it to do something, some sort of project as a family. And all during the summer, we're doing some sort of academics and plenty of reading. My kids love to read, so I'll go to the library and we'll get so many books, it's ridiculous, but plenty of reading.